Open it up for any and all questions. Thank you first and foremost for everybody being here tonight and being here for the entire World Tournament here in 2025. We're obviously incredibly excited. It was an incredible year, but I want to focus first and foremost on what you guys just saw at the end there. What an incredible knockout. And when you talk about a little synergy, the fact that 3 years to the day his brother did the same thing in the UFC was absolutely incredible. Obviously you feel for Dalton, but the one thing I want to say about both fighters is that they understood the entire week what a prize fight is all about. You got to sell the fight, and both guys did that incredibly well. So we're grateful for that. So congratulations to Fabian Edwards, obviously Romanov, who just won, and then also Shootface was absolutely dominant with his hands tonight and also with his classic submission. So all in all, we could not be more thrilled at how the PFL World Tournament went. Now we set the stage. All of them will be #1 contenders, and then they'll face our world champions that we will figure out for the rest of 2025. But just an awesome, awesome night. All right, let's open up any and all questions.
Coach, to have a incredible first season with the World Tournament, capped off with an incredible head kick like that.
Yeah.
What do you think that does for just the brand of PFL going into next year's season?
It's highlights. You got to have the highlights. And I've been telling you and everybody that's shown up, and we appreciate it every single night, that the only way you can build any organization, especially in the prize fighting game, is to have great fights. And so that's why you have to congratulate the winners and the losers, because Dalton tonight was up 2 rounds to none. It was a great fight until he got caught, and that's what happens in fighting. I don't think if we're all sitting down and we mapped out how the tournament was going to go, I don't think we could have written it any better if we had a script. And I think the fighters understand now here in the PFL they're going to be rewarded for great performances. I talked to a lot of fighters in the last couple of weeks who said, listen, all we ever want as fighters is an opportunity to be great. And I think no matter if you're in the NFL, Major League Baseball, whatever it is, all you want is an opportunity to be great. And I think you saw a lot of great performances the last couple of weeks, and we're really, really proud of that.
Now we're all excited for the Challengers or the Championship Series with the belt with that. But as far as the World Tournament goes, what are some of the things that are maybe on the side that you guys are going to do to bridge that gap between this season and next year?
Well, we have to find 8 world champions first and foremost, and so we have 4 more months here in 2025, and then a lot of the executives are going to sit down and figure out, because once we get the 8 champions, we have the 8 #1 contenders, then we got to figure out, because a lot of the fighters want to fight 3-4 times a year, and nobody wants to sit around and just fight once or twice. We got to figure out, how do we do that? Do we save somebody for the World Tournament? If they say, I want to fight, if any of our champions or tournament champions want to fight again in the World Tournament, what does that look like? I have no idea. I've been honest with you guys, for instance, day one. We're going to make the announcement when we can. We don't know, but when we can, we'll let you know. But I promise you, this was, and I shot straight with you. I said, we got to get the 8, then we got to get the 8 champions, and then we move from there. And that's where we're at.
Last one for me.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had Edwards tonight, Dad Gene before. Who do you think personally was the biggest winner from this World Tournament final?
Who was our MVP? Man, that's a good question. I think probably the biggest surprise was probably Fabian Edwards, because he had kind of been average the last couple of years, but he came in this tournament, he told us from the beginning, I want to show people that I am as good as I think I am, and he did that 3 different times. But I think if you're looking at it from a company perspective, Dad Gene, not only did he perform great, he wasn't even supposed to be in the tournament, but he shows up every single night we ask him to show up. I mean, tonight he's kissing babies and shaking hands and taking pictures, and that's what you have to do. And it's not hard to be nice. It's not hard to be a star. You just got to go out and you got to do it. And a lot of fighters, a lot of athletes don't understand that. That Gene does. I would love to see Liz Carmouche against Dakota Ditchpa. She, at 41 years of age, is turning back the clock. So we got to give her a lot of credit as well. But I think those are the 3 that stick out to me the most.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations on the year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coach, obviously, the transition to the elimination style. Ultimately, do you feel like it made things more exciting compared to the season point system?
Hell yes, it did. And I'll be the first one to tell you I was not on board with it. I didn't like it. I've been here 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, but I never traveled. I did all the betting stuff. And so sitting back watching it from afar, I thought that the season would have been how you decide the best. So if you have one bad fight, you come back, you get a first round knockout or finish, and you can still make it into the playoffs. I was wrong, and I think a lot of us were wrong. And I think the tournament not only did it add to the excitement, but what did you see tonight, where it all came down to one head kick, or all came down to a submission? And back in June, not only did they come into the second fight ready to finish, they came in healthy. And a lot of times when you're fighting 2 months apart, that's not always the case. So the fighters loved it. I mean, I didn't talk to one fighter that didn't like it. They absolutely loved it. So I can admit when I'm wrong. I have no issues with that. So I think this is here to stay because it's much more exciting. And I think the reason I didn't like it, to be honest with you, is I thought the fighters would just fight to win, and they wouldn't fight to knock out, submit, finish, be exciting. But that wasn't the case at all. So we got to give all the fighters a lot of credit for that.
I have to imagine, you know, in the office when you guys are throwing around ideas, some things probably made the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Is there some new things we could see to the tournament in 2026 that you could let us in on?
That's a great question, but I'm not going to tell you that.
Yeah, you can.
No, I can. I'm not going to. The one thing, and the reason I stand up here every single time and answer questions as transparent as I can, is because I want you guys to understand that when we announce something, that's the exact moment that we can announce it. I think on the final night of the World Tournament, it'd be very, very premature to say we're going to change this or we're going to change that. The natural question I get all the time in a lot of the interviews that I do are you happy with the 8 divisions that you have? I don't know. I don't know. It kind of all depends on the fighters that we can sign, the fighters that we can find. Is it going to be the same 8 divisions next year? I don't know that. We'll have to sit down and obviously that's not my department. We run with it when they decide what they're going to do, but certainly I think, again, if I'm being honest, we were very, very happy with almost all the divisions this year.
Could we see the PFL return a little bit further to the West Coast in 2026?
God, I hope so. I live on the West Coast, man. I'm coming out here all the time. It really is all about the cities that want us there, that kind of make us the best offers, because we're in year 7, year 8, so we have to go where it financially makes sense. And you've seen the level of arena that we go to. This is a perfect arena for us. That 4,000 to 5,000 seat arena is perfect. So if we can find someone on the West Coast and they want us to come there and it financially makes sense, then I'm sure we will. This year we went to the cities that wanted us there. So hopefully they watch us on ESPN and they say, hey, we'd like to have PFL here. We answer the phone, and that's how it works.
Finally, what is your message to the fans who are waiting to see these fights now? Fabian, Costello, Dakota, Liz, etc., etc. What can you say to the fans about those future fights that they are hoping to see from PFL?
Well, first and foremost, to all the fans, it's been such a positive thing online. I feel like there was a lot of, because we feed into it, a lot of times the media does, and we as people who run this do. I think we've completely put that on its head. I think it's been incredibly positive. I think a lot of you media have seen that we're willing to work with you, and I'll sit down all day and talk to anybody, and you guys have been amazing. And I think, because I said this before the tournament, that the MMA media is not against the PFL. You guys actually want us to succeed. It's better because that means more work for you guys, more fights for you to cover, when it's not just the UFC that's having all the events that people talk about. So I would say to the fans, thank you, because we've had some really good numbers on ESPN. We've had some great lead-ins. Thank you to the 12-year-old kids in the Little League World Series for the great lead-ins the last 2 weeks. But the fans have been amazing, and everywhere we go, more and more they're starting to recognize what the PFL is. And it's not going to happen overnight, but it's a really good start.
All right, Coach, talk about Lazaro Daron, his win over Bryce Meredith. That's one of the fighters, and the way he finished that fight in the 3rd round.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Daron, the way he finished that fight in
the
3rd round, 54 seconds.
Yeah.
Two undefeated guys. I mean, he comes in here, he wants in that tournament next year.
Well, I think, and that's the beautiful part of these showcase fights. Back in April, there was a lot of people that said, oh, their year is over, or they lost in the 1st round or the 2nd round. But you saw a lot of guys that still came back and fought because they're fighters and they need to earn a living and they want to fight 3 or 4 times a year. That's the kind of performance that we look at. And next year when they're putting that division together, you say, does he deserve to be in there? There's no question he deserves to be in there, and he wants to be in there. So they talked about it tonight on the broadcast that I know a lot of you guys can't hear. But that's the beauty of the showcase fights. And it's also why these fighters come in, and it's not just a blow-off. It's not just, hey, I'm on the undercard at 6:30. They know that if they can win, and I have repeated myself and said, if you're successful and you're winning and you're exciting and you get into the tournament, now you become a #1 contender, then that's a clear path to becoming a world champion, and now that's where the more and more money comes. And the fighters respect it. They really, really do. So that kid he's fun and tough. Tough, isn't he?
Yeah.
My goodness. Yeah.
Coach, a couple of things, like, so you mentioned the numbers on ESPN, right? Fantastic. I guess, obviously, there's going to be a lot more space on ESPN next year when the other MMA promotion goes away. I guess, what are the discussions being like with the, like, is the feeling that this is going to continue on and that we're going to see more PFL on ESPN, particularly now that there's a bit more space?
I can only speak for myself. We haven't had a lot of meetings yet. We have a new CEO that's starting in the next 10 days. We're super excited about him. You guys will meet him. He's going to have meetings with the media. You guys will all get to meet him. He's super progressive. He came over from TNT, and we need leadership that understands that we need to be aggressive. I think the ESPN situation, the way I look at it is, yeah, UFC went and got a bunch of money at Paramount Plus, and they're leaving ESPN. Our deal is through 2026 with ESPN, so it's now our job as a company to put on great fights, to give them great content, so that the app that launched today, $29.99, they got to put a lot of content on that thing, right? They got to get people to pay $30 a month for it. So we're hoping we lean into that, and they want us right alongside the WWE, the NFL, the NBA, and all of that. So certainly we're looking at it as a positive for sure.
You mentioned obviously there, like, new CEO, all of that stuff. When those meetings do happen with ESPN, are you going to be in the room there? Are you going to be a part of that whole thing?
Well, I mean, I'm the only one here that's been over a decade at ESPN, I can tell you that. I don't know, man. It's, I got asked the other day by this lovely young lady right here, what is your role in the PFL? And I said, that's a very, very good question. I know that I'm loving it. I know that I love talking to you guys. I know I love being a part of this company. I know that I want to be here for the rest of my career. I absolutely love it. There's rare is the opportunity to be a part of something that can grow. And people forget that the UFC, it was 15, 16, 17 years in before they really got to where they wanted to go. So if they ask me to be in the meetings, I'll be there. If they don't, then I won't. But I certainly hope I get more responsibility and my voice can be heard. But I stay in my lane and I do what they ask me to do, so I hope so.
I guess like El's concern would be like that when we're writing about this, right? Like we can say Don Davis, co-founder, told us this. We can say Peter Murray, CEO, told us this. We can't really write Jonathan Coachman, guy who's loving it.
That's a good point. Chris won. So I'll be honest with you. There's not very many things that I disagree with. But we've discussed like what my title should be.
Right.
I can tell you what I think it should be, but they wanted to go with like PFL Insider, and I said we don't have our own insiders. You know, we're not Ariel Helwani, so we'll figure that out. But this is only year one for me in this role, so we'll figure it out. Why don't you just say PFL spokesman for now? Will that work for you?
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, man.
Coach,
Yeah.
I just want to ask about like the initiative that the PFL has taken in terms of change. A lot of fans, fighters, they wanted change. The World Tournament was born. A lot of people wanted a different voice. You stepped up this year, and you've been at every single event throughout the year. It's a two-part question. Can you talk about the company's initiative to change and listen, and then yourself to adapt and change and take on this role?
So I'll start with the company, and when well, I don't want to embarrass it, but the man that's sitting next to you or standing right here is an amazing leader. He came on last year in October, Chris Kaiser, formerly at WWE, and I've known him for a long time. So when I knew he came on, that's when I got pretty aggressive about wanting to have this role because I knew what kind of a leader he is. And he brought in a lot of other good people that understand how you grow an entertainment company. And make no mistake about it, fighting is entertainment. This is the prize fighting game. And I think sometimes if you don't have people in charge or people in the right positions that know that, they treat it as this is the way it's always been. And I said in an interview the other day, if I hear it one more time, this is how it's always been, I'm going to throw up. You know, I want to run the other way because we need to change the game, and I think we're starting to do that. And we understand it's entertainment. The fighters, though, they have to understand it. And so I think that we have the right people in place for that. And then as far as myself, I've been looking for several years for something that's not just an on-air job, because I've done that for a long time. I've been in the WWE, I've been in ESPN. I love being on air here too, but there comes a time where you want to expand what you do and you think you have what it takes to be an executive and be standing up here after every single fight. So it's certainly something I want to expand within my career. But you guys have also made it very, very cool and allowed me to do that. So, but it's been awesome, man. Better honestly than I could have imagined. So
you mentioned your work with Kaiser here. How much pride do you think you guys all as a team take in telling the stories of these fighters this year? A lot of fighters tonight said this is the happiest they've been with the PFL. They're really telling our stories correctly. So how much pride do you take in that?
That's awesome, man. It's everything to me. Growing up in the WWE in my 20s, it's all storytelling. And when you're putting your body on the line, and whether it's pro wrestling, which is what I did for 13 years, or whether it's fighting, you're literally walking out there putting your life on the line. And so they deserve the respect from us as a company to tell their stories, and if they're willing to lean into their brand, then we have to push their brand. And so every single fighter that I met with in April, I said the same thing to. You have the opportunity, but it's up to you. It's up to you. And you saw the fighters that were able to be successful, that leaned into their social media, leaned into their branding, and I love it when, and we had a lot this week at the hotel, my heart was full, and I don't even want to get emotional about it because they all come up and they said, we're so happy. We love how you treat us. We love when we show up. We've got so many professional people here. We brought a lot over from the WWE, almost our entire digital team. You see how good the production is now. Every single time, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is top shelf stuff. And that's what they deserve. And if you want to be a top shelf MMA organization, all over the world, everything's got to be first class. And that's what we're willing to do. We know we've got to do that, and we're going to do that one step at a time.
Last one for me. I think before the World Tournament, everyone had their idea of what PFL should be doing with their roster.
Yep.
Now that we sit here August 21st, do you think the roster has spoken for themselves and has sent a message to those on the outside, hey, this is where you want to come, this is where you get your one shot at greatness?
I've had so many fighters come up to me and say, this is where we want to be. And for so long, PFL was known as the company that would take the big name from UFC that just got released. And we don't want to be that. We want to have our own homegrown stars like a Thad Gene, like a Dalton Rasta, and then also other good young fighters. We don't make it a secret that we don't need to be bringing in 42, 43-year-old fighters just because they have a big name. And so the fighters get it. They want to be here. And it's also a matter of they know that they've got a highway to drive down, which they've never had before. They now know. Like Fabian Edwards now knows his next fight is against Costello Vincinas, and that doesn't happen very often. And so we just want to grow and build on that. So yeah, it's awesome that the fighters are happy. That's exactly what we want. So we want them to be here, and then other fighters, because they all fight in the same gym, right? So if you're in the gym and you're fighting with another guy in American Top Team, whatever it is, and say, man, I love fighting for the PFL, then other fighters are going to come here too. And that's how it works. But it doesn't happen overnight. It just doesn't. So that's all I can say on that. But man, we're off to a really good start, I can tell you that.
Thank you.
Coach,
All right, guys,
can I?
I'm so sorry. That's all the time we have for Coach. Thank you so much, Coach. Appreciate you.
Thank you,
We're gonna
guys.
get